Alright, into Golden Pack today, and I kind of cooled off on going for 5 of a kinds in Golden Pack. I think most of the easy ones have already been done. You know, the faint pets in this pack are so much easier to get because you have multiple options for scaling in the late game because of cockatoo. But everything else, you're kind of looking for specific pets, especially with these early tier pets that have utterly useless abilities or no in-battle ability at all like the Opossum does. You're essentially hoping for the scaling pets on the particular turns, and it's really kind of a grind trying to get those pets, even though the level up system has changed and you're more likely to find certain things. Of course, with the tier 1s, you're automatically losing out on one of the scalers in the baboon. So, you know, if you're going for a tier 2, then you can get baboon on turn 3 and actually get a couple of buffs for a few turns, and even just 1 or 2 buffs. You know, the health is so valuable in this pack because it comes at a real premium. And that's one of the plus sides of Opossum, at least, is that it has the 2-3 stat line to begin with. So you've got a pretty decent chance of winning some of the early turns by accident, or even just tying is good. So you can see here I'm on turn 4, I still have 5 hearts. And we're really just looking to save the levels for turn 5 and then try and hit sea lion. Here I was kind of complaining, you can see that they had baboon and they had scaled up their Hercules beetle there. And so we hit the sea lion, which is perfect. I mean, I had so many runs that get to this point, and I get the level up on the tier 1 or the penguin, and the sea lion is nowhere to be seen. It feels like it's pretty much mandatory at this point. In the olden days of Golden Pack, it was a lot easier to achieve these kind of runs without having to get the pets you need early, the scaling pets you need early. But nowadays, there's very few inexperienced players playing it, or if they are, they're not in the same bracket as me. But here we take the eggplant. Not so fun fact, but eggplant is actually called aubergine in the UK. I'm not sure why there's a difference, but I originally didn't realize it was the same thing. But there you go. There's your bit of trivia for the day. But yeah, taking eggplant, I feel like on the second position unit is, I wouldn't say mandatory, but it's extremely useful. And there are so many builds that you can beat with the sort of basic stat scaling team, as long as you mess them up with the eggplant. And second position is generally one of the best places to put it, because you're going to hit things like poison dart frog. Later on, you're going to hit nurse shark. I mean, people can play around that, but a lot of the time it's just not worth it. You know, they're not going to face multiple opponents one after the other that have second position eggplant, so why would they adjust their lineup to compensate? Although it has happened. I did have one the other night where someone had wildebeest second, I think it was. No, they had wildebeest at the front and Nyala second, and the Nyala got pulled to the front, which meant that the wildebeest would activate. So that was just an absolute soul read. So you just have to hold your hands up and say well done to that person. So we're going all right here. We've had a whole bunch of waffles. Each waffle on the African penguin is +6 attack overall. We just hope that most of them hit the opossums and not the sea lion. But now we're on to turn 8 and 9, so we're really just looking for level ups on the sea lion, which can potentially lead to bird of paradise, or looking for the octopus in the shop to try and get some better waffle scaling, because although the penguin's giving attack, the health is much more important now because their attack is already pretty decent. So here I'm just going to freeze the double chocolate, and we're going to speculate and look for bird of paradise next turn. Not next turn, turn 11. So I'm going to take the double sea lion again. Running the 2 sea lions side by side gives you +2 health to the triple tier 1, which is so much more valuable than splitting it between health and attack. And we're going to take, I think here we messed up the poison dart frog. So moving the beluga forwards means that the dart frog didn't get to shoot multiple times. I feel like dart frogs just not that great, and especially since it's so susceptible to those kinds of interference. So here I can actually take the level up and look for Bird of Paradise. We don't get it, but that's okay. I can also save the Stoat for next turn. Now Stoat is actually, I don't think it's that good in this pack, but when you get to turn 11, it actually becomes very interesting when you're starting to look for specific pets. So if you buy, sell a Stoat and you don't get what you want, then you've only spent 1 gold. And I think that's actually, your odds of hitting it are 1 in 10, so it's better than actually rolling once. However, you can also hit Oyster, and then if you sell the Oyster, I think you're making a 2 gold profit from the Stoat. So here I'm doing a couple of Stoat buy sells. We don't get the Bird of Paradise, sadly, but we are on 4 hearts, which is extremely good for turn 11 with the stats that we have. I mean, our team isn't all that strong, but again, we're just going to miss out on the bird. We're just going to take an extra sea lion for more health. And then next turn, we're just going to look to sell both the sea lions and just commit to trying to find the Bird of Paradise. Here we get absolutely destroyed by the Gazelle. I feel like Gazelle is super sketchy as a tier 2. You can see there it was 50-50, turn 11, 50-50 Gazelle. There's just no way we can beat a team like that. So take the level up here, and I do get the Bird of Paradise. Oyster, you got to be careful here. I've done it many times where I've accidentally bought the Oyster first because it's such a reflex to buy it. But you can only take one of the 2 pets on the level up. So we get the level 3, we're going to get the level 2 Bird of Paradise next turn, and we have an Oyster, so we can potentially get 2 triggers. Here we actually face Nurse Shark, but thankfully they hit the Bird of Paradise. We're actually going to win. So now we're going to be on 9 wins already. And it's kind of unfortunate here because we've actually ended up in a situation where we've got the level 2 Bird of Paradise, but we could almost be winning too quickly, even though our team isn't that strong. So I'm just going to roll here. I think I'll freeze the pita bread. Oh, okay, I'm just going to take it. I guess I'm just going to risk it here and hope that I'm going to lose, because it's now too late for me to get 2 opossums to fill out the team. And then we roll another one. And actually, it's kind of a shame there's an avocado there, but you know, we're going to try and aim to win next turn, and therefore the avocado, there's no point in freezing it. And luckily we get matched with this opponent that has the level 2 wolf and the secretary bird plus antelope combo. So we're not going to have a chance there, which is perfect. So we're just going to roll. I think we can do 1 buy sell to trigger the Bird of Paradise and still have enough gold. Yeah, 1 more roll. We're going to activate it. We get the +6 buffs, and now we can sell it and buy the 2 base stat opossums. So for this team to win on turn 14, we really need to get lucky with the matchup. There are plenty of banana skins, but we actually get matched with this team, very unorthodox, with the flea, level 3 flea with huge stats, and everything else was kind of weak. The eggplant messed up the chocolate cake betta fish there, which was great. And then we actually had exactly the right amount of attack to kill the flea. So very, very fortunate there to get the win. Now here are some more bonus clips of other tier 1 runs. Cone Snail is actually an interesting one because although its 1-2 stat line is really bad in the early turns, the fact that it gives health is incredibly good the longer you go on. And it means that you can get away with just the African penguin scaling for a little bit longer. And then we get matched with a perfect opponent. They have the grizzly at the back that has no protection at all. And we absolutely destroy that opponent. Very few teams that weak when you get to turn 15 in Golden Pack. So that's another one done. And here's Magpie. I have been working extremely hard on trying to get Magpie. You'd think that it would be one of the best tier 1s to go for, because you can save gold on the early turns to get to turn 3 and then look for African penguin. And then the fact that you have 4 health by default means that the African penguin buffs are that much better. However, again, here we get matched with the 50-50 gazelle, you know, the full money build. You've just got no chance against that. It doesn't matter which unit you picked from tier 1. So here's another one. This is me going for 5 geese. And here we actually have the level 3 bird of paradise. And I'm just trying to time it here so that all the buffs are guaranteed to go onto the geese. Although, again, we have to find another goose before we run out of gold. And there it is, incredibly fortunate. And we can also buy the pita bread and the pretzel. Although, actually, buying the pretzel isn't enough to trigger the bird again. And turn 16, 3 very large units, but then 2 absolute minuscule ones at the back. However, again, we get matched with Poison Dart Frog, and the eggplant second position moves the beluga forwards. And although the Dart Frog does have the onion, they just can't generate enough trumpets, and our high attack is going to instant kill the retriever. And the 5 geese win as well. So I actually had 5 opossums, 5 geese, and 5 cone snails all on the same day. And yet I'd gone months without getting one of these on Golden Pack. There must have just been something about the matchmaking that day. So here's another 5 magpie attempt. And this time I've got the 2 1/4 magpies and throwing one of them up front with the tomato. But this is the other ultra aggressive scaling team that you can get matched with, the catfish plus blue-ringed octopus, and we get handily defeated by, 100 plus stats on their side. And next we've got another magpie attempt, although this one's a little bit different because it's only on 3 wounds turn 10. And I wanted to show this one because it was indicative of a trend where I was constantly getting matched with Flame, and we were both going for these 5-of-a-kind challenges, which means a lot of our teams are taking up the pool of the low trophies when you get to the late game. And so I got matched with his 5 surgeonfish attempt there, and I got matched with all sorts of other teams of his in this session. And here's another one where I was taking a little bit of a break from the tier 1s and I went for 5 African penguins, but we ended up with the sloth. And of course I had to take it. And again, we get matched with a bird of paradise team. And unfortunately, the sloth run comes to an unceremonious conclusion. But I think that's the 3rd or 4th sloths I've had recently. Unfortunately, every single one of them has come when I've been trying to do a challenge. But looking forward to getting the next one where I've actually got a shot at the level 3.